It's an exciting moment. Life is good when you can make it good. We have fun with the toys. Let's keep playing with them. All right. Hello, everyone. We're live now. And just to give context to those of you who are joining for the first time or watching this recording, if I should call it the live stream, if you watch it in the future, we started last week building. So when we started with problem identification, brainstorming, and trying to build the project itself. And we came up with a problem of staff scheduling. We want to build a platform that would enable managers of various stores or companies or organizations that have more than one staff and they have to schedule them. And we came up with a bunch of features. Then after our brainstorming session, which we did together. So just for context, we are on a Zoom session right now and we are also streaming to YouTube. But the audience together with myself brainstormed through the problem that we had. Then we're able to fish out various features that we're going to build, and finally, we went to ChatGPT to help us finalize our brainstorming. And yeah, I forgot. I was supposed to share this with the audience as well. So a link to what we did with ChatGPT will probably be shared. I may drop that in the YouTube description as well if that is allowed. Otherwise, I'll share it in the email going out as well as on the WhatsApp community. So if you're not in any of those ones, please try and get on as soon as possible. So today we're going to continue, and the tech stack that we're using is one Next.js for the full stack application that we're building. We are also using TypeScript to ensure type safety for the code that we write. We are using Prisma as a ORM to facilitate the connection with our database and interactions with the database. Then we're using PostgreSQL as the database of choice, but then with PostgreSQL, we're using an online free version of PostgreSQL by a company known as NeonDB. So NeonDB is the platform that we're using for our database. And we created the database. Let's go. I have a couple of other projects. Yeah, Scheduler. That is the one that we created. And our tables that we created last week. Are you loading or what? Ooh, no surprises, please. Load the table. Oh, we didn't push anything. We did, yeah. So I remember we also created the Next.js application, which you can see on my test editor here. And yeah, the code base, we've done some work largely using the AI tools that we came across. So some of the AI tools that we have been using, one is Cursor AI, which is the VS Code clone with AI functionalities in there. And for Cursor, we are able to use the various LLMs that we have access to, but we have stuck with the Claude 3.5 Sonnet. That is what we've been using. Then for the user interface design, we tried out VO as well, vo.dev as well to help us with some of the designs. So those are the technologies that we've been working with so far, and we are going to look into the others. But those of you who received the email, I mentioned in the email that I discovered a new tool yesterday, and I was excited to share it with you. I haven't played with it yet, but I was reading their GitHub repo and it also looked interesting. So maybe we just go there and come back to our project. And it's not something that I expect you to just delve on to right now. When we are done, you can start looking into it. I think it's called the co-founder AI agent. Co-founder AI agent. So someone recorded a video actually. Yeah, this is the video, but I've not watched the video yet, except that I opened their GitHub repo to look at what they are doing. And yeah, pretty cool what they're doing. So you have this AI agent that if you give it your problem, is able to generate the wireframes, is able to produce the product requirement documentation, then it goes on to build a full stack application for you. So something worth noting and trying out. When I watched their videos, it was doing some pretty cool stuff. So I'm just going to drop this in the Zoom chat.
Chatley?
Uh, what do you say?
No, chat. I was say chat.
Oh, okay. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Let's see. YouTube. Am I able to drop a chat in YouTube? Yeah, I'm able to drop it. Oh, okay. Yeah, I'm logged in. All right. So I've dropped that in YouTube as well. Yep. Now we can go back to what we have to go back to. So that was just an announcement. If I play with it and I find it interesting, obviously during some of the sessions, we'll get to use them. These are toys that we are learning to play with. So it's good. Uh Okay, back to where we started off. This is our Next.js application. If you never coded a Next.js application before, no worries. There's still a ton of things to learn, and we're going to learn that. So the first thing we're going to do now is to try and start our application to see exactly where we were. And in the course of the week, I've been building other projects where I found some things that work better than the approach that we started with. So along the line, probably will share that as well. NPM, goodness, run dev. So the question some people usually have is, why do we write NPM run dev? Where is it coming from? And when you watch YouTube videos, you watch tutorials, and people are just writing this command, and you think that, oh, this is something that I have to memorize and use all the time. That is not the case. It is coming from your package.json if you did not know that. So in package.json, we have scripts, and the script that you have here is what you use NPM to run. So if you say NPM run dev, what you're actually doing is you're telling your project to run this command. So it is actually looking for inside the package.json, the script, which particular one I'm trying to run dev. So it comes to look for dev and run the command that is here. Since we are using Next.js has this command that is used to run the server in dev mode or development mode. So that's why we use that. So you could run npm run build, npm start. So start is the only npm command that does not you do not need to use run. So you just use the command npm start. Then this is lint, npm run lint, npm run migrate. So this is one that we added to enable us to run our migrations. All right, let's go to localhost for 3000 and see why are you opening on a different screen. Yeah. So let's see what did we have? That would the default page that we are going to see. So we are using SJS 14 and using app router. So there are different types. There are two different types of Nest.js. Oh, I don't see the YouTube. Hold on, let me figure this thing out before I leave the YouTube guys behind. Okay, I think this is YouTube. You should be here so that, hold on guys, let me tidy up the screen. Yep. Then YouTube and Zoom. Oh no, where is Zoom? Okay. All right, good. Okay, so this is what we have. And as I was saying, it's Next.js 14 app router. This means that all your public files, not public per se, but everything that you're going to see on the browser is supposed to be kept directly in the app. I'm thinking about whether what I said is entirely true or not. Because you can keep things outside it, but then you have to make use of it inside here. And all the routes, the pages that you'd want to get to should be within the app directory. That's what you mean. And if you have any directory inside the app directory, apart from this, okay, yes, if you have any directory inside the app directory and within it you have page.tss, what it means is that you can easily access it on the browser with app directory, sorry, your base URL, in this case localhost 3000 slash, then we have profile. I hope you're in the right project, right? Oh, okay. So portal is something else, but this is profile. Then what else do we have? What else did we create? Alt. Okay, we created alt. Yeah, I remember now. So we created alt, and register. Remember we did the user registration that worked. Then we did the sign in as well, which also worked. Let me try the profile and see if that is working. Oh, it's asking us to log in. Okay. Do we even remember the login credentials? Oh my goodness. Uh, I hope I do. Haha. We haven't also implemented a feature to reset password. Problem. Nope, don't store it. Problem. Oh, you guys, I think it was 1, 2, 3. Yes. So it was 1, 2, 3. I forgot. Like I was just entering all my passwords and it wasn't working. Oh, so wait, there's something that is missing. It's checking if the session is not empty. Ooh, did we implement this? Did we see that part? I don't even remember. Ooh, let's see. Does so? Okay, the beauty about leaving a project for 1 week and coming back to it and not remembering what you did and what you didn't do. Anyway,
It will look as if
uh,
you are just going for the first time.
come again. I didn't hear what you said.
Like it will look as if you are just starting from the
Yeah,
beginning.
I mean, it would have even been easier if I was just starting from the beginning, because now I need to understand exactly what has been done before. Okay, so there is one way that I can get rid of this. Let's go to the layout file. Uh, did we put? So this is a public layout. Wait, no, that's not a public layout. This is a public layout. You have a team provider. We are calling providers. Nope. This is interesting. There's supposed to be a middleware file that we have to control for next odds. Ooh. There's something that I'm not seeing. Sorry. Let's go to the API routes and see this authorize the okay. User role. We haven't set a middleware to prevent access to other pages. So I'm wondering what is happening. Okay, no worries. There's always a way around it. One of the things that I would do like differently if I was to restart this whole thing and I was thinking about it in the course of the week. Usually, if you don't know much about authentication, sometimes it takes you a lot of time to figure it out. I'm the type of person that would want to see progress, that yeah, my app is taking shape before I even begin to worry about authentication. Right. And I've shown you in the past a couple of projects like Clark that can simplify authentication for you. But otherwise, it's also pretty cool to have an authentication in a system like this. But it also takes time to figure them out if you don't originally know how to do it. So if I was building from scratch without any previous knowledge of these things, I probably focus on the projects that I'm trying to build and the idea in terms of its functionality and make that work. Okay, so it's making a call to this even when we go to profile. That should be something that tells us up directory. Then we go to profile. Go to profile. Okay, so it says if there is no session set, then we should go to that page. Okay, so that's what is being used. Ideally, you would want to use a middleware to protect pages so that you don't have to check every single page. Yeah. So that was where the code was. I mean, then it means that there's something also wrong with our authentication because it's not setting the session. Anyway, let's not focus too much on that and rather try building the application that we want to build. When we are done, we can come back and fix the auth issues. But the application we are trying to build, did we do anything there? Yeah. Mm, okay. Use raw without. Why is use? Okay, we're using it here. All right. I don't even remember what we needed to build. Come on. Did we not create a document where we had the details in there? Did we do something like that? Guys.
We have
Yeah,
to.
I thought
We have
it's
to.
inside the README or
Oh, the
roadmap or
README. Oh, okay. That's what I'm trying to figure out. If there is
I think it was
uh
to do, not read me. I don't know.
to do, yeah. I like to put things in to do. Okay, to do is here. Great, great, great. All right. So let's see. Build core features, the shift management. Okay. So one of the things that I would do is, and all you, I mean, those of you who were here last week know that we're using Kesa right now, and I've shown you a couple of others that you can use. But and Kesa 2, the free version for the first 2 weeks of signing up gives you all the pro features. So if you want to really build something in 2 weeks, you can try it out and create a new account and start. If you fall in love with it and you want to pay, then you proceed to pay for it. Okay, so what I would do is be in this file and click Control I to communicate directly with that file. Okay, I know it has all of these things, but let's reset it because our brains have already been reset. We don't even remember a lot of the things we did last week. But yeah, now that we reset this, the interesting thing is I want Kesa to go through this. Then let's say we want to implement this, create pages or components for the manager's scheduling dashboard, use shard, this mistake, shard CN UI component to build a calendar view, use Prisma queries to pull shift. So let's focus on just this, right? But how will we build? This is a dashboard. Wait, how will you build a dashboard and pull queries, shift data from the database and display it in the UI when you don't have any shift related data? So it has to create all of that. All right, that's fine. So ideally, I'll just copy this line and pass it to it. you see that it has added it as a file. The file up here. I don't know if you guys can see this. Oh no.
Yeah, we can see.
Yes,
Very
yes,
Okay,
good.
yes.
okay, good. So now instead of just to do, my focus is on 41, line 41 to 43. That's what I've selected. And I say, let's focus on just this part and get the shift management working. But before you do that, write out an outline of all the things to do so we can begin. So this is an approach that I've seen works a lot better. I know that I want to implement shift management but there's a lot more things that needs to be done. So I wanted to create this outline of things to be done. Then I will tell it to now go through that outline and build me what needs to be built. So it says, would you like to
Okay.
start implementing the database schema for Shift? So let's go and look into the outline. The first one is database schema setup. Next one, backend APIs, front-end components, core features, then UI UX considerations. All right. So now I'll just tell it to proceed, but make sure that it has the outline file. Ideally, I didn't expect it to create the outline.md for me. I expected it to give it to me. Like that's what it has been doing in the past. So I would have copied it myself and created the file and put it probably under the specific folder. So you know your application, you can break your application down into multiple components. So I'll
Yeah.
put for, let's say, shift management. I have a directory shift management and I'll put the to-do under shift management. Then I'll ask it to now go through that and help us build that. When we are done, then we can proceed to the next one and tell it the next outline to give. But yeah, now it has done that for us. So proceed. Let's see what it does for us. This will help you set up the database schema for the shift management system. First, let's create a Prisma schema. All right, Prisma schema is being created. We are adding, so we originally even had some, but now it is added on. And one thing I find out that it usually makes a lot of mistakes when it comes to the relationships. So that is one problem I found. But then if I click, I don't know what you guys, if I click control, then dot or the full stop, control and dot, I get this quick fix suggestion because I'm using ESLint in, this is VS Code essentially. So I was about to say in VS Code, but in Kesa, it's imported all my settings from my VS Code here. So it's familiar domain. When I click this, it adds it automatically for me. So it's fixed. So that's one of the problems I found most of the time when Kesa creates the schema, it doesn't always get the relationships right. But then the quick fix is control dot, then you choose the fix. So now we are done with that. It says a shift type enum. Let's see that. So shift type enum. Enum is more of you're enumerating the types, like in this case, the shift types that are allowed. So anything outside that will not be allowed. I want to see where it added it. Yeah. So here you can see that this is an example. If you have row, it means that row can only be staff or manager. We don't have any other row. Request status can only be pending, approved, or declined. Shift type can only be morning, afternoon, night, custom. So that is the only one that you can have. Then shift status can be scheduled, in progress, completed, cancelled. Okay, shift status. How about if it has not been scheduled? What would that be? Do you all agree that this four should be the only thing? If it has not been filled or we don't know. Anyway, let's
I don't
go.
understand. Is it the person has not been scheduled, or I don't understand?
Yeah, so I don't also know fully how we're going to use this, but on the top of my head, when I thought about it, it's like if the shift has been scheduled, we know that yes, this has been scheduled for someone, right? Someone is going
Right.
to be coming here. But then
Yes.
if that day has not yet been scheduled, like let's say next week we've not created a schedule for anyone yet, or you can call that a shift. I don't know. But that's what I'm thinking, because it's either you've scheduled someone for it, and or someone is already doing it, so it's in progress, or someone has completed it, or someone has cancelled the shift. But when that shift, no one has been put there yet, how will we refer to that one? That's the question I'm asking. If
Not scheduled.
Yeah, so not scheduled, or anyhow you want to call it, unscheduled, or anyhow you want to call it. But I think that may come in handy, except that, hey, if we are the ones coding everything, we have to think through it and implement it, you know. But if you want to take this route of you talking to the AI and making AI do all the work, one of the key things you need to master is your ability to question things, because sometimes the AI thinks in a different direction. So you have to be able to question it and say, how about this? How about that? Then it would reason with you. And almost all the time, the AI will say, yes, you are right. I didn't even think of, like, absolutely, we should have done it this way. So you know that there are a lot of things that you, the human, a lot of inputs that you should be able to add into it to make it what you're really looking for. Okay, so it says this has been done, that has been done. A shift model with unnecessary fields, proper relations between users and shift, indices for better query performance. The next step is to run NPS Prisma generate. So that is something for us to do. Let's add a new terminal here. Says we should run NPS Prisma generate. Then NPS Prisma DB push to update your database, or NPS Prisma migrate dev. I prefer using migrations. Yeah. So one other thing that I have come to learn is that sometimes when you run some of the Prisma commands, you get this problem. And the only reason why you're getting this error is because your server is currently running. So
Oh,
you'd have to stop the server. If you don't know, you keep beating yourself up every now and then and never get it fixed. You see, it is done. So the problem was because the server was running. Okay. Self-appointed class prefect. I hope you are taking notes. I've never seen any notes from anyone. Hey, you guys, when you come to class, you don't take notes. All right. So the next one we want to do
Boys at
is
the back.
the boys at the back. They don't like taking notes. NPS Prisma migrates dev. All right, let's run that. And this should migrate, generate a migration and push to our DB. Would you like to proceed with creating an API route? Why does this guy keep asking questions like that? Keep going. Yeah. Any questions so far? Any questions? Okay. We give it a name. We add shift schema. So if you can pay attention here, in the API directory, it has created a new one. Let's here, shift. It has created this and that and that. And it says these API routes provide, so the things that it did, routes the TS created, then yep. Now let's create the route handler. So the first one is, okay, let me try and explain with what is right here. you can see that it created this shift directory. I hope you can see it. Then in it, we have the ID with the directory name has a square bracket on it. Not sure I explained that last week, but in Nest.js, if you put the square brackets around the name of a directory, it means that this is dynamic. So it's a dynamic route. The value there can change. We are saying ID in square brackets. So what it means is that the ID is not a constant. It could actually be 1 today, it could be 2, it could be 100, it could be 1,008, it could be 1,878. I don't know where the number came from, but yeah, this means it's dynamic. So in this case, if we are trying to access anything here, our route would be the base URL / API / shift / then the value. I hope you guys get what is happening. I didn't pull up a Scali draw today. Okay. So what I'm saying is that we can end up with, is this writing? Oh. Okay. So we can end up with /API /shifts, then / because we did that, it means that this can be any number. It could be 1, it could be 2, it could be 3. So that's what we mean by dynamic routes. And that's how you indicate it in Nest.js. For the API endpoint, you remember for the front end, I said everything will have to have page.css. And if it has page.css, then it's going to be a route. For the API or the back end of your Nest.js application, it has to have routes.ts. So the fact that we have one routes.ts directly in here means that if you go to API /shift without this other part, it is going to use this route, the one here. But if you add the / then you add a number here, it is then going to go into this dynamic one, which is the ID, and use this route instead.
Okay.
So that is what is happening. Shift here has its own one. In the same way, if you look at the pages, we had a similar implementation. So auth didn't have a page.tss. It didn't have a page.tss. So you can't go to just /auth because it is not a valid front end or the front end route. It's not. But if you go in here, you see sign in has a page.tss. So it means that auth / sign in is a valid route on your front end. So in the front end, we identify a route with page.tss within a directory. And this is when you are using app router. So if you are installing Nest.js, especially when you are using any of the AIs to guide you to install Nest.js, most of them have outdated knowledge. So they use the page routing. And that is different, a bit different from this particular one. So you have to pay attention to that. Always, if you are talking to the AI, tell it that you are using app router and your life will be simplified. Your life will be simplified. Yeah. So let's go back. Let's accept this. It says, great. Also create a helper file for Prisma clients initialization. I think that was already created, but yeah, very important. That's one file that I didn't, when I started using Prisma, I didn't know about it. And let me try and find it. Where will it keep the Prisma file? Let's see. Usually you put it in lib. Yeah, see it. Inside lib. I didn't know about this. So when you use Prisma as your ORM, but how does your code itself get to connect to Prisma? Prisma, you have already indicated that Prisma is going to connect with a particular type of database by providing the environment variable database underscore URL. So if you look at the environment variable, we have database underscore URL, something that I should never do, but then hey, it's okay. Do what you want to do. Yeah. So ideally, I should never show environment variables on a live stream, but we are playing around here, and that test DB that we are using is for testing purposes. I'm not using it for any production stuff. So yeah, it's fine. Okay. So where I opened the Prisma.ts. This is more of an initialization of Prisma. You want to initialize Prisma and export it as Prisma. Once I've exported it as Prisma, anywhere in my code, I could actually import this Prisma and use it to interact with my database. So that is the connection between your code base and the database. Prisma is the one that is standing in between them. If you don't have this particular file, you would have to always call Prisma from here, Prisma clients, and initialize Prisma again, like new Prisma. The way you are calling it this way, you would, in your code base, like assuming I don't have this file, if I want to interact with Prisma in any of the routes, let's go to the shift route. This particular route, you see here, we are just calling Prisma from lib Prisma. So if we didn't have this, we would ideally import, we will be importing Prisma client from Prisma. So we'll do this, then we'll come and create, say, const Prisma is equal to new Prisma client. So you have to initialize Prisma in every single part of your code where you want to interact with your database. But the problem is that Prisma is not supposed to be initialized multiple times. It's like you're trying to create multiple connections to the same database. So at a point in time, it will tell you, and this is a problem that I faced because I didn't know this. Maybe I didn't read, RF what TM. I didn't read the manual as much as I should have read it. So I ran into the issue of I'm trying to start my application and it says too much connections to Prisma. And I'm confused. What is happening? So I try, you go through the rabbit hole of trying to find out what is going wrong. And eventually I figure out that, oh, I'm not supposed to be. So it is best practice not to be initializing Prisma all the time. You initialize it once and reuse it everywhere. And that sample of code that was written for us in Prisma.ts is actually available on Prisma's documentation. So a lot of developers, when you see when they are doing it, they'll just go to the doc and go and copy it and paste. You don't even need to understand it. All you need to know is that you are initializing Prisma, and going forward, you can just import Prisma and use it to interact with your database. I hope that is helpful.
Yeah.
All right. So now we know this has been done. Let's try and, I don't know, sometimes I don't know if I should just focus on building the project or I should continue explaining things. What do you guys suggest? We need a project to be done, but then do you also need to understand everything that is going on, or we should just focus on building the project? Which is which?
The way you are doing it now is good.
Okay, then let's keep
It's
going.
good.
All right.
You know,
So
Doc,
yeah.
some of us were just interacting with these tools for the first time. So it's quite valuable if we get the basics as long as you are also doing the development.
All right. That's good. Let's keep going then. All right. So one of the key things, obviously, when you start talking about routes, and I think when we did the Django series, I took time to explain the request response cycle. See, if you really want to get good at these things, that is something that you cannot miss. If you really want to understand code, see, even just this week, something occurred. I was assigned a task and I was doing it, and there was a question on an MR that I made. So in GitHub, if you are using GitHub, mentioning GitHub, John, I've forgotten. We have to push the code to GitHub. Yeah. So let me finish what I'm saying and we'll push to GitHub. So when in GitHub, you say a PR, but when you're using GitLab, it's an MR. So I make an MR and one of the senior engineers make comments on it and I have to refine it. And I started thinking, I went to ask him questions to discuss with him. That was when I realized, oh shit, I even though I knew the request response cycle, I didn't even think about it that way. Now it has given me a lot more insight into what was wrong and I came back to fix it. So very important. If you want to understand this and be on top of the game, the request response cycle, especially if you want to be doing anything web, you have to fully understand it. But yeah, let's push this thing to GitHub before we can do anything else. The one good thing about Next.js is that by default, Next.js has already initialized Git for you. So if we were not using Next.js or we didn't use the create Next app, we should have initialized Git for ourselves. So if I say Git status, you see that Git is already tracking these files just because we have Next.js using create Next app that has already initialized it for us. But the other thing that you want to confirm is your git ignore. Now I can see that this is grayed out, so it means we've already added it to git ignore. And I remember sharing the story with you. So you always have to pay attention to your git ignore file to make sure that you have your .env in there. Because by default, it only has this, the .env.local. So to be on the safer side, you can always ignore this and call your env.env.local. But the challenge I found is that Prisma by default looks for the .env. So if you look inside Prisma, the schema, up, when you declare the database, the DB here is by default using env. So I think I've tested it out before and it didn't work. When you had .env.local, you'd have to write something to change this, I believe. I don't remember exactly. But to be on the safer side, if you create it as .env, Next.js automatically knows it. It will pick it up. But Prisma may not be able to pick it up if you have .env.local. So I'll prefer to keep using .env instead of .env.local. And if you choose to use .env, then you should add it to your git ignore. So that's what I was pointing out. All right. Once we know that this is already being tracked, all we need to do now is to do git add, then dot to add everything, then git commit. This is just our initial commit. So we can just start with initial commit as our git commit message. The next thing we need is a remote repository. So let's go create a remote repository. Go to github.com and let's find new. In here, a bed, and this was called staff scheduler. Staff scheduler. I just want to live. Okay, let me append live to it so that if tomorrow I'm building another thing called staff scheduler, I know the difference. Okay, so we just proceed like that. And GitHub is good enough to give you the rest of the instructions if you don't even know how to do it. So it says create a README. You already have a README. It has already been initialized. We've already added it. We've added our commit message. So the next thing is this. By default, Git would use the main branch, the default branch as main, as master, sorry. Git by default, you use it as master. But now they recommend us not to use the word master. So we use main, and it has those history, master and slave, and people don't want that. So don't use master again. So in order not to push your code to GitHub with a branch being master, we run this command to convert that to main. So that's the reason why you run that command. Now, I shouldn't have done that. I would have shown you the branch that we were on so that you see what I was talking about. But now the branch we are on is main. Okay. The next thing is to add a remote one. So the other thing you could have done was just copy this whole thing and it will push everything because we already have an existing repo. So we could have just stuck with this part. But no worries. They are all the same. If you understand what you are doing, then you don't have any concerns. Just proceed, and now let's push this. Okay. So for those of you who will be watching the stream later, you can always have access to the repo on GitHub. Yep. This is the repo, and let me just copy the link and drop it in the chat. Those of you who want access to it. Okay. Then on YouTube as well. All right. Now we can keep going. What brought me here? Yeah. So I'm talking about the routes that we entered. Where's the route? Shift. So in your request response cycle, you need to know about these two methods, the HTTP methods. You need to know about all of them. Like not all, but at least I think there are 5 main ones: get, post, put, delete, and patch. Those are the 5 main ones, and you need to understand them. If you don't understand the request response cycle, please just go to the YouTube channel and find the series on Django. You don't need to watch the whole series. There's a particular video, I don't even remember about. I think the first or second episode of that series, we did an extensive deep dive into the request response cycle. So get is for getting our shift. So it says fetch shift with optional filters. Then this creates a new shift. So post is for creating. This get is going to get every shift, but it says with optional filters, which is really good. If you implement filters, that is excellent, so that you can choose the filter. So here, what it is doing is it's trying to say, did we add any search parameters to our URL? So if our URL has any search parameters, then let's grab those ones. So to get to those ones, we are calling the start date search params dot get start date. So this will give us if your URL has anything called start date is equal to this. So you usually have, let's say, if we go, oh, if we go into this place and we say /shift, let's say we've implemented, this is the back end call. So you won't see anything, but let's say we've implemented that and we are calling the back end. This is how we're going to call it: API /shift then, sorry, this was supposed to be the one that takes us to that route. But if we have search queries, it means we'll have this question mark, then we have start date is equal to, then you pass the date. So what we are trying to do here is the value that you give there, we are going to assign that value to this variable. Then here as well, the value that you give will be assigned here. The value you give here will be assigned here. Maybe I should do an SJS series sometime soon. I love JavaScript. I don't know. I couldn't continue with the Python series because I don't even remember the last time I used Python.
I think the next JS course will be very interesting. Doc, you remember you once said it that you will start the series.
Yeah, but
Like I
everybody
guess
loved
you
Python first. So you guys made me go do Django. Then,
I was
then
seriously hoping, waiting for you to start the series.
on
The
JavaScript related stuff.
JavaScript.
Yeah, I got to do it. Now that AI makes these things more interesting. Yeah, we'll do it.
Mhm.
Now that it's just time. Maybe when school breaks in December, I'll see.
Oh, that
Okay,
would
let's do this. You people will be celebrating your Christmas with me. All right. So here we've extracted the data from the URL, if there were any. Then we come here and we are trying to find, this is how we interact with Prisma. Do you guys remember where this Prisma is coming from? We initialized Prisma and I showed you earlier in lib
from the
directory.
Prisma.ts.
Yes. And we brought it here. We imported it here, right? So now we are
Yes.
able to interact with it. If you say Prisma dot, this is the name of the schema, the entity in the schema that you created called shift.
Yeah.
So that's where we are getting it from. This model.
Like the
shift.
model.
Yes. So that's where we are getting it from. And we are interacting with it. This is it. We are interacting with it. But what are we doing? We are finding many. Like find many. It's the query that is going to allow us to pick as many as will match whatever criteria we put in there. Remember, Prisma is an ORM that stands in between your code base and the database. Previously, you would have written the direct SQL query yourself, the database language itself. But Prisma prevents you from writing it because it says, hey, you are writing JavaScript. Instead of going to learn how to write SQL, why don't you just use JavaScript object to create your connection and interaction with the database? That is what an ORM is. So that you who know JavaScript do not necessarily have to go and learn SQL to appreciate how to connect or communicate with your database. Just use the same knowledge that you know in JavaScript to do it. So that's what we are doing here. This find many is ideally going to be a SQL query that says something like select all from, so here we are using shift. So it will be select all from shift, where then now this is our where statement. So those of you who have ever written SQL command, now this is what it translates to. This makes it very easy. We are saying where, then here we are checking if start date and end date exist. So if start date and end date exists, that's when it's a lot like that, it's not very easy to appreciate. But what is really happening here, we call this the use here as the ternary operator. We are checking if this is true, then do this or that. So it is called conditional rendering. We are checking for a condition. If the condition is met, then we do a particular thing. If it is not met, then we do another thing. So the first thing we are checking is, do we have start date? If start date does not exist, this whole thing this thing will be false if start date does not exist. If start date exists but end date does not exist, then this will still be false. So the only time this will be true. Okay, so wait, we are using end, not or. So the only time this will be true is when both of them exist. So if we have start date and end date, then we should go ahead and do this. Look into the database. When we go back to the schema, here we have start time. So that's what we are checking. If this start time, we are looking for find many where the start time is greater than or equal to, GTE means greater than or equal to the new date. Like this is just creating an instance of the date object. So it's saying that if we are selecting from all the shifts that are in our database where our start time is actually greater than or equal to the start date that this guy provided. but also it is less than or equal to the end date that they provided. It is that simple. So this is the query that we are writing for Prisma. Then if these things do not exist, if either of them does not exist, then we return an empty query here. So this means that all of this is to be ignored if start date and end date do not exist. Then the next check that we are checking is if user ID exists, then we are trying to find where user ID is equal to the user ID that we've provided. JavaScript is somewhat interesting. So sometimes this thing here, user ID, if you come to the schema, it's called user ID here. So ideally, you should have written this as where user ID is equal to user ID. So this is what ideally should be written. But JavaScript has this rule such that if the variable name, like the names are the same, then you can ignore this. It will understand that you are saying when user ID is equal to user ID, or that's what you are looking for. Right. So user ID, otherwise, if user ID does not exist, then we are passing an empty one. So what it means is that here, if we do not have the start date, end date, and the user ID, then this where query does not come in. So at the end of the day, it's going to bring everything, all the users. So if I go to APIs like shifts and I don't add any query parameters, it's going to fetch all the shifts from the database. But if I have a user ID in there, then it's going to fetch the shift for just that user ID, or the shift for just that user ID. Also, if I have start date and end date, then it's going to fetch all the shifts between those periods. But if I have a start date, end date, and a user ID, then it's going to fetch all the shifts between that period that belongs to this specific user. Does it make sense?
Yeah. Yeah.
Great. All right. So the other thing that we are pulling is that when you pull this data, we don't want just the shift information. We also want to include these ones. So include the data user. There is a relationship between this shifts. See, we have a relationship here. Shifts has a relationship with user. And you can see here that the field user ID within shifts, user ID here, it has a relation, and it is referencing the ID of this model, this user model. So if we go into user model, there is an ID up here. There's an ID here. So those of you who have learned database, any database language before, you would hear about foreign keys. That's what Prisma is helping us do in a simple way right now. So this user ID is a foreign key that is actually related to the ID in the user model. And this is where the connection is coming from. So what we are doing here is that we are saying, when you try to pull this shift data for us, don't bring us just the content of the shift table, but go into the user as well, include the details in the user. But we want you to select specifically from the user table, we want you to select just these ones. We want the ID of the user, the name of the user, and the email of the user. Those are the things that we are interested in. That's why we are selecting this. If we want to return everything from the user, we wouldn't include this select query here. We would just include user. But now you said we are including the user, but we are also selecting from the user these specific things. These are the only things that I want from the user. Then you should also bring the created by. So the details about who created this shift. So let's see, created by ID. And you see there's a relationship here with created by. And this goes to the ID of that particular one. Oh, Where are you hiding? I can't even. Ooh. Yeah.
No
So
worries.
this is the connection. Okay. Let's see. Where did I see the created by the a model like that? Created shifts. Is there a model called created shift? Oh, user. They are referencing user. Okay, okay. Oh, so yeah, I didn't realize. So a user, I don't know if we would have wanted to separate it, but yeah, it makes sense. So we have an array within the user table where all the shifts that are created by this person will be added in there. So some of these things you have to think through it. Does it make sense to have them in there, or should we create a separate table for it? If we have 100,000 shifts created, will it make sense to have it as an array within the user table? Because if we are going to query this often, then hey, that's going to be a problem. If you're not so much interested in it, then that's fine. But yeah, so these are some of the questions that you ask yourself when you're designing your schema. Okay. So at one point in time, it may make sense for us to abstract this into a separate model, then link it to the user so that if the user created it, is assigned in a different table and not put in here as an array, because that may look problematic. But yeah, let's proceed with this. Eventually, we can come back and fix it if need be. Then the other command that we are given, apart from include, is you should order it by the start time. So all the shift that you are pulling for us, we want it. You want the shift data to be ordered in ascending order with the start time. What does ascending order means? From the least to the highest, right? So
Yes,
order
yes.
that based on the start time. All right. Then we just return the response. So now we have generated all of this response in shifts, but we are returning it in JSON format as a next response. If any of these things failed, we are throwing this error. So that's essentially what this get command is. Let me undo all the things that I did just to make
Sorry,
sure that, yep.
I'm trying to wrap my head around it. You said from the least to the highest.
Yeah.
Does it mean that the one that is created latest will be shown first, or is the one that was created last that will be shown first when it's returning the list?
When you start working with time and date, that's where that confusion comes in. But you think about it, time and date. Let's say today's date and tomorrow's date. Which one is bigger?
Tomorrow's date.
Okay, so that's how you handle it.
Okay.
So which one will it return first?
That means it's going to return the one that was created last.
No, you are starting from smallest to biggest. That's ascending order. So if you say the shift is not, we did we use the date that it was created? No, we use the date for the shift. So a shift could be a future shift that we are creating, right?
Okay.
So what we are trying to do is all the dates in the shift, the start time for that shift. We are looking at the date and saying, okay, today's date, today's shift, and tomorrow's shift. Today is smaller than tomorrow,
Yes,
right?
yes, yes.
Like in terms of the date value, today is smaller than tomorrow. So today will come first before tomorrow. Like when you order it, you see today's
Okay.
one. So it's like you see the closest first before the latter ones.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
But this is not just a shift problem. Like anytime you're working with date and time, that confusion always arises. So I'm glad you're able to pick that up. All right. So now we can look into the post. We've seen how the get works, and we can look into the post. The post here, oh my goodness. So this is trying to get the logged in user. So that's where we may run into issues if our auth service is not working. We could have avoided all of these by just passing a sample user to it. But now it's checking to see if you are logged in. Do you have a session created? If you are logged in, it says if you are not logged in, we are returning a 401. That's an unauthorized error. But if you're logged in, then let's proceed. We await the body of the request, and that's why I've said you guys need to understand request and response cycle. Then from the body of the request, we are grabbing all of these, the start time, the end time, the type, the user ID, the notes. We are grabbing all of that. Then we also want to confirm manager role, Prisma. So here we are checking, you remember where Prisma is coming from, and you remember what user is. User is the model that you have stated in the Prisma schema. Find unique. So we are trying to identify from users the email that belongs to the logged in user. So if we are actually able to find that person that has logged in, then we also want to check. So this particular place, even though you are calling it manager, ideally you would just check, you call it as user so that you don't assume that if you return that, then you don't assume that if you return that, then it's the manager. You're calling a user. I think probably why they wouldn't use it is because we are using users up here. But you're calling a user with this particular email. So it goes into your database. Somebody has logged in, is already logged in. You are able to grab the details from the login session. So you are able to get the email for that particular user. Then once you get that email, you are checking from the user account and finding that user with this specific email. After you found that user, you are checking if the user role is not equal to manager. Then you say only managers can create shifts. That is all. So this person does not have the right permissions to execute this particular thing that they want to execute. Hence, we return to them a 403 error. And this is not magical, coming up with what status code. For example, when I started learning these things, it's one of the things I didn't appreciate. Where did they get these numbers? Do I just choose my own set of numbers? No. These are standards that if you go to the internet, you'll find. So let's go to Google. You see HTTP status code. MDM has very good resources for it that you can check. It says 400 to 499 are client error responses. These are redirection. These are server error responses. Then if we look specifically for the one that 410, let's look for 403. 403 is forbidden. The client does not have access right to the content. So the reason we are choosing 403 is because this is used as a standard for when somebody does not have the right to access that content. So that's why you are choosing 403. There was an initial one where we choose 401. I hope you remember. Over here, we chose 401. So you need to understand what 401 is. 401 is unauthorized. Although the HTTP standard specify unauthorized, semantically this response means unauthenticated. That is, the client must authenticate itself to get the requested response. So what this means is that the 401 error we are throwing to you is you've not been authenticated. You have not logged in. You need to be logged in before you can access anything beyond that line. Okay, so that's where the code is coming from. if you didn't know. Oh no. Keep going back. But yeah, that's what is happening. Then if we ascertain that you are the manager, we can then proceed and say, okay, await prisma.shape.create. So now we are calling this method create, which is going to create a new record for this particular model, the shift model. And the data that we are passing to it is this: the start time, end time, type, nodes. These are all information we got from the body. So we got this data from the body of the request, and we are now utilizing it to create that. Okay, then after we are done, we are sending a response back to the user. So this has been done. Now, I hope you understand this. I wouldn't have to explain it again. Maybe when we do a Next.js series, you would get to learn more about it. But a similar thing, if you want to get just a single shift, let's say I want the details about one particular shift, then this is the endpoint that I'll come. Shift ID. So let's say shift 1. Then the route inside that. So it comes to find it, and we've gone through most of these things: the error type, the shift, find unique, and with all the details, returns it. We also have puts. Put is to update the shift. And the same way, if you want to update a shift, you have to select a specific type of shift you want to update. So there should be an ID to it, and we are grabbing the ID from here and using it to update that. Then we have delete. To delete a shift, you also need a single ID to delete it. I mean, not a single, you can delete multiple, but then you need an ID. That's what I mean. You need an ID to be able to delete it. So that is the 5 main. We didn't talk about parts, but yeah, these are 5, right? Delete. Oh, okay. That it was get, that was twice. Anyway, so let's proceed with development now that you understand what is happening behind the scene. Says these API routes provide fetching shift with filtering options, creating new shift, updating existing shift, deleting shift, role-based access control. Only managers can create, update, delete, error handling, and proper response. Would you like to proceed with creating a front-end component to interact? Go ahead. You see how easy this approach is? We are not the one telling it what to do. It's the one asking us what to do, because we've put the outline, we've created an outline that it is working with. Ooh. Any questions? Any questions?
Wow.
All right. Oh, it's done, but then there are a lot of errors. Where could the errors be coming from? See, we have red, and problems. I think it's probably using some dependencies that are yet to be installed. So you see, shift calendar. We've not implemented any
I've
components
seen
like
React
that.
query. That's something from Tanstack.
Okay, so we'll go through it. Let's see what it does. Now let's create a front end component. Let's created this, created this, the okay. Says, would you like me to explain any specific part in more detail, or shall we proceed? Yeah, I've seen that. I don't know anything.
You are feeding it well.
So this guy is asking if he should explain anything to me. Like, this guy is too dumb for my liking. I need to ask him whether I should explain this thing for him. Okay, So we have to install some of these dependencies, the ones that do not exist. Dates functions. Ooh. See what I just did. Did I just run npm run? npm install, sorry.
Nah.
Ooh. So software engineer, you don't have to be afraid of errors. So you're afraid of errors, you won't survive this field. Okay, these other two are to come from ShardCN. They are to come from ShardCN. So let's go grab from ShardCN. Cosby, I saw that you were praising ShardCN.
Yeah, dog. I'm in love with it.
You know, we are back in the bootstrap era where almost every website had the same look and feel because we are all now using ShardCN. And the other ones that are also coming are similar. So at the end of the day, nobody wants to see one thing that a lot of developers do not like is CSS. Taking the time to start. Erasmus, are you here? Erasmus here. I know he complains about CSS a lot. Taking the time to style things is not easy. So if you get styled components for you and you can, the ease of use is that easy. Like, hey, who doesn't like easy things? Okay, so let's look for card. Then we copy this npm and run it. Yes. Oh, it's already there. Oh no, no, okay, that's not a card. If it is already there, we'll ask us to if we want to replace it. What happened? The term Y is not recognized. Don't worry. I was telling you yes. Okay, so you see that these two are gone. The next one is skeleton. Skeleton to speaking it from shard. So you know, he used it, but they didn't tell you anything. So if you do not know what you are doing, that's also one of the things, one of disadvantages. So it's picking it from chat. Otherwise, you'd have to ask it, how do I go about this? Then see the way it's assuming that I don't understand the things it has done for me. So it will be the same. Okay. So React hook form 2 is not installed. Let's install that by npm install React hook form. Zod is also not installed, so we'd have to. So I'm wondering why it didn't tell us because ordinarily it would tell us that, hey, I've used this, use that, but it has not told us
Where we have
anything.
gotten to, it's assuming yeah,
We-
Ogboro.
so then why is it asking me to explain specific parts to me? Anyway, okay, let's install Zod npm run inst. Oh, why do I like run like that? Zod. Then this as well, who form resolvers. Forgotten exactly how you install this, but let me try. npm install that. No way. Install, I think it's resolvers. How do I install? I think it's resolvers. Oh, hold on. Ideally, you'd have to go to the Zod. What is it called? See, now it's listing all the things that needs to be installed. Is this guy serious? Okay. So, oh no. So
Like
it's the
easier.
slash Zod is not part. Yeah. Ideally, you would have to go to their what is it called? Their documentation and go and figure it out, you know. But some of us seeing these things are becoming too lazy to move at all. Okay. I've actually not used React Query before.
Yeah, dog. I actually saw it in the dependencies intro when you said it, and I mentioned it. I'm trying to do the customer payment UI, like a
Oh,
page,
okay.
for an
Okay.
intensive thing. And I'm new to front end and everything. I'm a back end guy. And I'm fetching a payment API and I'm
Okay.
getting errors. I'm getting errors fetching the
Oh
API.
no.
I don't know.
See, I'm just copying and pasting, knowing very well that this thing is wrong. We've already initialized it. We don't need to initialize it. And the I don't know if it is Kesa or is Claude that is making this mistake, keeps doing -u when there should be no -ui. This should not be there. Anyway, this is not supposed to be part of the installation because you've already done it. And all of these are not the right way to do them. Form. Why is it we don't have form? Hey, I didn't know that Shashian had form. Form. Interesting. Wow. I didn't know. Because I always created my own forms. Okay. So let's install that. Run this. Then the next one is input. I don't even have to go there. Just delete this and write input. That's how easy Shad makes things for us. Okay. We're still not done with the errors here. Okay, select. Let's do select. Ooh. Okay. The next thing will be test area. Let's do test area. All right. Bit by bit, we are fixing the errors. Hey, there's still an error in here. Any? Oh, hold on. I wouldn't sweat this right now. Ideally, I always tell Chesa not to use any, not to define any a type as any. But right now, we really want to see progress. So I'll turn that off. Disable this for this line. Why? Okay, let me disable for the file. Okay, so that it doesn't cry at me. Dialogue. You can get dialogue. Okay, shift form. Where is shift form? Why is it not? So why is it giving you error? Sometimes I've found out that you just need to delete it and write it again. Oh, you wanted it this way instead. Interesting. Okay, but yeah, that works. So we fixed this. Let's keep going. Calendar. Eh, okay. Start CN. That CN is really saving us. Oh, because
Yeah, so
ideally, if you didn't have all of these, you'd have to create these components yourself. What's
yes, you
happening?
be creating all these things yourself, and it's enough job.
Yeah,
Not
a
giving
lot of
you
work.
room to think and be fixing things.
And imagine when you are creating them and you are making mistakes and hey, what's happening? Oh, you couldn't install all of this. Hold on, let's go to ChatCN and confirm how they install calendar. Maybe there are dependencies that needs to be installed.
Yeah, I was having that issue. You have to install FNS, date picker, some other stuff.
Let me see. Okay. I mean, it's easier for us to just go ahead and do it for the sake of the weaker brethren. You just copy this. I remember that statement from one of my the person who taught us calculus in university. Anytime he's teaching, he would make reference. Okay, for the sake of the weaker brethren, let's do this. Hmm. So for the sake of the weaker brethren on the stream, we are letting the AI do the work so that you can also. Why is this also not working? Because we already installed it. I hate these things.
Realize with the date FNS, the default version is like 9 point something or 5 point something, and it wants the lower version.
Oh, I see. That's why I'm using the legacy peer. Ooh. This is also okay. This is something we can easily fix. Okay. What else is left to be fixed? Calendar. Can we now go ahead and install calendar? Okay. No worries. You override it and go. Okay. Did we fin? Oh, first of all,
Amazing
this
how
one.
everything is componentized.
Yeah, yeah. It's really good when you use that approach. You know, because if there is an issue, it's isolated. You can go into it. And I think one thing that we learned in ALS, and that's what Betty did to us, is to ensure that you don't write a lot in just a single file, and especially if you have a single function. I think if I remember correctly, there was a total number of lines that your function should not exceed. I don't remember the exact figure. That's how they taught us there, and I think it was really good. This is in where profile. No, we are not worried about profile. Okay, so chat. Hey, Kesa, what do you have to say before this? You said, would you like me to? Shall we proceed with setting up the required? Oh, see, we didn't. I didn't finish reading. He said, shall we proceed with setting up the required dependencies? So he was actually going to guide us through it. Interesting.
I read.
Wow. Okay, we are done with installing the dependencies. Let's see what next it has for us. Oh goodness. RFTM. If you had read it.
I read.
Hmm. Now we need to create an API route to fetch users for the staff selection dropdown in a shift form. Let's create that. Checks if the user is authenticated, verifies the user is a manager, retains a list of all staff, only retains necessary user fields. Now you should be able to view the calendar, create new shifts, assign shift to staff members, view. Oh, would you like to test the functionality or shall we add any additional features? Let's go and see what you have done. Our page, we have shift here, then there's page. Okay. See, the problem we're going to have is the login part. I just hope, because if the login part is not working, then we have to go back and go and fix whatever the problem was. So shift and run this. Ooh, why is that? Oh, the server is not running.
Ah,
Oh God.
Run there.
developer putting the pieces together.
Yeah. Like you now start complaining. You go to the AI and say, it is not running. Help me fix it. What is wrong? What could be wrong? Oh man. Okay. I mean, I like having like these things to me are fun. Playing with these things and okay, only plain objects and a few built-in can be passed to client component from server components. Classes or noun prototypes are not supported. Hey, what did Claude AI do? Claude AI, what did you do? Let's see. The one challenge I found with something like this is that it finds it difficult to find exactly where the problem is coming from. So it may end up going to make changes to a file that is not supposed to make changes to, or sometimes even within a file, is making changes to something else totally. So how I've narrowed down to solve this is open the file itself and find exactly where the problem is coming from and try and fix it. Now we have reds again. We need to go find it. Anyway, let's go back to our code base and fix these things. It says these changes have made pass the selected date as a string instead of a date object, handle date conversion in the components where needed, then probably format date. Okay. Let's see where the issue is coming from. Huh. I need to rest my neck. I don't know. Okay.
It's not easy sitting down. My back has been paining me.
Hi.
Especially if your seat is not properly.
I know. I actually got a new seat recently. Hear me? Okay. I got a new seat recently, so it's good. But my headset has cable that will not allow me to stretch like that.
Yeah.
It has a neck rest, so ideally I should be able to rest it. And because I'm speaking to the microphone, that's why I'm positioned like this. So it's my sitting position that's affecting me. Anyway, let's try and finish this out soon. Okay, first of all, accept it and see where the error is coming from. This thing again is declared by not you, so take it out. Why are you giving us error? Ah, this is also declared by not used. Ah, okay. Please come, please come, please come. Oh, so I bet it probably didn't figure out where the problem is because this is the same error. Same error. That's the tricky part. Like, and this error too doesn't really speak to anything in particular. Plain objects and a few built-ins can be passed to client components from server component. See, because we are not going through the code one after the other, now we don't even know which of them in particular the error is coming from. Like which of the files in particular. Because if you find that, then you can go into it and look for the issue. Hmm. Hmm. Problem. Okay. The same error. Same error. Okay. Are you sure? Are you sure you found the right file where the error is coming from? Use chain of thoughts to thoroughly thoroughly debug this and get it fixed. Hmm. Let's see what it's able to do. So don't just spit out anything. I want you to think deeply about it before it solves the problem.
Then go say,
Ah, see, yes, we know these things have come. They are making life simple. These tools are making life simple. But I can bet that the more time you spend with it, the more experience you get. So, just as I've always been preaching, I'd prefer you start using it Okay. So according to what it's doing, it's thinking that it's coming from the get server. Yeah. So that's what I'm saying. I'll prefer you start using it, playing with it, gain experience over time. Otherwise, the time that you would realize that, hey, I need to start using these things, you don't have that level of experience. I was there when it was created, but I don't have that experience to use it. Hmm. So let's understand the error. This error occurs when passing non-serialized data from a server component to a client component. The most common culprit is passing date object directly. Let's trace the component hierarchy, then go through it. So you see what it's doing now. It's thinking step by step, and that's because I prompted it to use chain of thoughts.
So first it wasn't.
The first was a thing. Then, hey, what did I do that has grayed this thing out? Okay, I see there is an error here. Cannot find this. Ooh, what did this guy do? Something that doesn't exist. We are using Nest Alt, not Alt. You know, Nest Alt has now been changed to Alt.js, but then you are still able to use Nest Alt. And we are currently using Nest Alt, not Alt.js. There's some bit of difference between them. So instead of Nest Alt was ideally created for Nest.js application, but now they want to make it available to others. So it is now Alt.js. And here they're calling it from Alt, but here you import it from Nest Alt. Okay, so but we are using Nest Alt and not Alt.js. Let me see what it will have to say. Ah, you're right. Let's modify the shift page to use Nest Alt instead of Alt.js. This guy didn't fix anything. Let's go and try our luck. Same error. This is where you get stuck and you have to now find a way to debug it yourself and go through all the code that has been submitted. Okay. So I think the problem is possibly coming from the alt part. Uh, you know, let me do this first. Get rid of that and see if anything comes out of it. No, the same problem. Redirects. Okay. And all of these. That's not the problem, of course. So it means the problem is not coming from getting a session from this end, right? We have to now dig deeper. Shift calendar. Shift calendar. What are you doing here? We could add some console logs and usually I like that to see where the problem is happening when you are debugging these things, right? If we want to go the route of we are using AI tools, this will not be necessary because hey, I assume I don't know how to do these things. So I have to focus on using the AI to try and fix whatever problem it is. But if I am stepping in as a developer to fix this problem, I have to debug it. And to debug it, one of the things I'll do is probably pass in some some console logs to see where the problem may be coming from. Here we are just setting a state for date, then use query is calling something here. So possibly, let's see, using this. So it's possible that the problem could be coming from here. How we'll get to know that is instead of This is how sometimes you do it. You just console log here. Instead of console logging shifts, my default is usually gets, I'll just say gets here, maybe 2. Then I'll have before this particular call, where is it? Before this particular call, I'll have gets here 1. So if I run this and I check my console, I should see whether I get here 1 or get here 2. If both of them came, then the problem is not coming from there. Sorry. Console, where are you? Nothing at all. Hold on. Do you have anything that's significant? Stringify in here. This package of JSON. It's forget password. So that's nothing. Alt profile. Okay, shift form. That way it's coming from. Oh, so I'm not getting any of those ones. That's interesting. What I'll do right now is just copy this and give it to it. So fix this. Anyway,
You can ask GPT too.
the problem is that you don't even know which of the components is being affected right now. Otherwise, you just go into that and fix it. So even if you're going to ask, and that's one important thing, like you should know the right questions to ask. So what exact question are you going to ask in this case? That is where the problem is coming from. It says the error is occurring because we need to wrap our client components with proper providers. Let's modify the files. This creates a client wrapper for the shift page, then update the shift page to use this client component. Let's also create a query provider component to probably handle the React query. Finally, update the root layout to use this provider. Separate client and server component properly. Ensure React query is properly initialized. Maintain proper provider hierarchy. Handle session state. Okay. All right. So that got fixed. Whoo.
Wow.
Okay, let's see. Moment of truth. Shifts for November 2nd. No shift scheduled for this day. But why is he using November 2nd? Today, what's today's date?
November 2nd?
Oh, today is November.
Yes.
The rich people, they don't watch time. Oh. When time is even going, they don't know. The rich people, they want it to go fast.
Oh my goodness. I forgot it. Come on. Hey, happy new month to you all.
Oh, it's been yesterday. Like since yesterday.
No, I mean, I know that we've entered a new month. I actually know. Like today is one friend of mine's birthday, and I've sent a birthday wish today. But I forgot it. Like I'm just thinking October. I was expecting to see October. Okay. Let's try adding a shift. But are we even logged in? Does it have a session? But the start time is this, end time is that, shift is morning shift. So let's change this to say 2. Morning shift is to close at 2. Okay. Select staff member. We've not created any staff member. Oh my goodness. How do we then add a staff member? But at least we know that our function is working, right? So let's go back and now ask it to help us create staff members. This is dark mode. This is light mode. Okay, pretty good. You're making progress. Ideally, would create a dashboard, have sidebar. We'll work on that. But let's go back. It's working now. It's working now, but we don't have staff members yet or any way to create them. Oh, it uses the user components and we have a way to register users, right? So I'm guessing they have to use that route to register. Anyway, update the outline to add an outline to update the outline.md to add an outline for the next steps so we can test the functionality. Okay. The design looks too plain, but let's
The
not bother
dark mode
about
is
it right
nice.
now. Come again.
The dark mode is nice. You
Oh,
can see
really?
the card.
Let me see. Hmm.
It's bringing out the feel.
2025. 2025. Anyway.
Chat CI. Chat CI.
Hey, what did this guy do? Oh, it has finished. Hey, I've even forgotten that I asked it to create updates this thing. So it has updated it. Okay. Why do you have all of these open? Close all of them. Okay, so let's accept this. Then it's our outline. Outline, where are you? Okay. So would you like to start with implementing a staff registration page or the staff listing page first? You choose. Proceed. Whatever you want to do, do. Hmm. Imagine if it is coming back with yes or no buttons and all you are doing is just sitting down and push, clicking the buttons. Yes, no, yes, no, yes, no. Imagine that. Uh, hello, Abubakar from Nigeria. Watching on YouTube. Hi, hi, hi. You're welcome to the stream. Yep. Let's see what we have. Let's start with creating a staff registration page. First, we'll create the necessary components and API endpoints. All right. We would need to install Bcrypt. Have we not already installed Bcrypt? So package.json dependencies. Do you have Bcrypt anywhere? So how did we encrypt the? Yeah, we have it because we encrypted the password we created the last time. Then the types we have all of that. This setup that's okay, good. But I'm sure we know. Oh, there is this forget password. Was it just created or we had it previously? We had it. So let's not sweat it. We saved this, but the challenge is that we currently do not have a way to easily navigate, right? There's no sidebar menu. Have you guys seen ChatCN sidebar? This setup that's okay, good. But I'm sure we know. Oh, there is this forget password. Was it just created or oh, I thought someone was talking. I just heard my own voice. Guys, don't confuse me. Yeah. So SATCN now has sidebar component that you can easily use. I'm sure this guy doesn't know. So what I would do right now is copy, as you know. Copy the docs for it to learn. It's a lot. No, you could actually provide, if let's say you have the URL to the doc, you can actually provide it to this by coming here. No, not here. Doing the add symbol and choosing docs. Then add new doc and pass the link to the docs. So you can do that. Then, yep. Shard CN docs. So now it knows directly from the doc itself. Can we implement a nice sidebar so we can easily navigate around? Also, make the interface look more professional and enterprise grade, as if it was designed and developed by engineers from Google. It's funny to me. Hi.
I know.
I won't complain. I won't say anything right now, but I
To
hope you
me,
guys are learning.
look as if we are playing game here.
Man, you have to like have fun, like play with these things, tell it things, get to see what it does. Sometimes Shatsian, you didn't learn. Hey, did I say Shatsian? Kesa AI, you didn't learn. Still not hyphen UI. Or is there hyphen UI? Let's go back. Is there anything like hyphen UI anywhere? Let's choose any of the components. There's no hyphen UI. This guy is a stubborn boy. It says a collapsible sidebar has been added. The fact that you didn't install sidebar means you didn't use their sidebar. But anyway, let's see what it did for us. Accept these first, then we'll come to a terminal. Obviously, we've not installed it. Let's go to this terminal and install nps install. Oh, sorry. Shard cn at latest. Shouldn't be doing all of these things. Add, then scroll area. Okay. So Abdul Sadiq, you said you are learning JS. Wow. How far into JavaScript have you gone? No, JavaScript is one language that I've learned over and over and over, and I still feel like I haven't learned anything in JavaScript. What is happening? If we used bcrypt in the past, why are we having? I think we used bcrypt from bcrypt, not bcrypt JS. I think that's what we used. Uh, Since I hate those things. We are just removing the thing from this. So why do you still want us to use it? Ah, sometimes some of the errors do not make sense. Let's just hide it for now. The sidebar, what is wrong with the sidebar? Sidebar props, no members is equivalent to its super type. Hey, this isn't. Anyway, let's try and see what it looks like. Ooh, Google engineers, where are you?
Nice.
Is it not nice?
Nice.
Oh, hey,
Wow.
are they? Yep. So We are making progress, good progress, stuff and all, but we need to fix this error. So let's just copy this for it and say, hey, it's an error we got. Fix it.
There you go.
The moment we get to a point where the AI doesn't think and it just spills out, like you give it to it, it gives you the answer. Give it to it. Like when you are doing mental in school, 2 plus 2 is equal to. Did you guys ever see that video, a cartoon? I think so, where the guy was challenging his teacher, and the teacher started asking questions. He asked every question that they asked, the guy had an answer. To the point that when he asked, "What is my favorite food?" he had an answer. Where do I live? Like all of those things. Oh, no one knows. Oh, anyway, okay. So let's see stuff. Do you have? Oh, see what is just happening. This is dark. This is white. Problem. Oh, this is so that's our 404 screen. The 404 has not, I mean, by default, Next.js shows this. We have not created our own page to be able to control it ourselves. But okay, so now we have the side, but let's see. This resolves the linter error. Okay, it does. But what was the next step after this? Design follows enterprise patterns used by companies like Google Cloud Console. Yeah, immediately I saw it, I realized that it's probably taking it from those Google products, how they look like. Then the other thing I want to see is responsiveness. How responsive is this? It's not. How will you do this? Okay, it is to an extent, but when you, this is not even, I can't toggle it. Hey, Pesa, be careful. But I like that. Now it uses icons when there isn't much space. It's responsive to an extent, right? But why can't I toggle this? Or I'm not supposed to toggle. I'm supposed to just use these icons. Why? Anyway, design should always be the last thing that we worry about. Hey, please, oh, the design people will come and fight me today. No. For those of us who are interested in backend, that is the last thing we should always worry about. Okay, so we are done with that one. What next? Let's see. Let's proceed. It's fixed. Ooh, somebody comes into the chat and says tyrants. Who are the tyrants? Let's looking at outline.md, we need to create a staff listing page for managers. Let's create that now. Okay, keep going. It's past 2 hours already. Huh. Why is the time running so fast like that? We need to install table and badge. So let's get to install them.
You don't have table? Yeah, I guess.
I doubt. We haven't created any table yet. Then badge.
I've been building customer payments, so
Mm. Right.
fetch the API and then payments API, then the data will appear in the
Table
table.
form. Oh,
Yeah.
I see.
Then you can click a particular payment to view using the modal.
This one that created ads is given. Do you not have created ads in schema? The user schema. Ooh, see, we don't have it. I prefer to always add these two lines to all my schemas, because even if I do not need it immediately for auditing purposes, maybe a time will come where I need to know when this thing NPS Prisma generates. Who can tell me why this is not working?
The server is running.
Okay, good. We're learning. That's good. So we need to stop this and go back and run. All right, that is done, but I think we need to migrate as well. NPS Prisma migrate dev name flag. We call this add dates to users. Did anyone try using NeonDB? So this problem also happens sometimes in NeonDB. It's making me wonder if just because we are using the free version or if they have availability issues. Because sometimes I've I've had this issue a couple of times. Oh, we have an existing user. So you see, this is one problem that working with Prisma is showing me some shiggy nowadays. My Nigerian folks are here. Prisma is showing me some shiggy. So the issue here is that we already have a user table that contains data in it, which do not have these files. But then we are adding them right now. And let's see, I'm sure the problem would be, let's try and see. The step 0 added a required column, update out to the user table without a default value. Yes, there are one rows in this. It's not possible to execute this step. So the problem is that for the created ads, we can add it to it because we are passing a default value. It's even here, up here. But for updated ads, we cannot do that because there isn't a default value. So if we make changes to it right now, you need to, one, you can make this optional. That's one of the things I've found. To solve this problem, you can make this optional to begin with. Then when you push the data, you go in there and put some data in the database itself. Then you come and change it being optional. Then you migrate the changes again. So now it already has data in there. Otherwise, when you want to do it, you have to run it with create only. The create only flag will create the SQL command only. Then you can go in there and edit the SQL command. Okay, so these are two ways to do it. Either you make it optional, then you go in there and fix it in the database, then you come and make the changes. Or if you don't make it optional, there's also another way. You can pass a default value, then that default value will be used. Then you can come back and fix it, then push again. But I think the easiest one would be using the create only. So let's say I added created ads and updated ads fields to the user model, but migration is failing. Then let's see what it will tell us. Okay. So one of those three options that I gave is what is going to recommend then we'll fix. See, right now it's saying we should use the create only, where it creates just the SQL, then we'll update the SQL. Why did it automatically go and create the file? This guy, is this here? See, it has created this file. But anyway, let's go ahead and create our own. I hope you didn't use the name. So that's one the easiest way. But in this way, you have to understand SQL if you want to make changes to the migration when it's created. Then you go and make the necessary changes. So let's see. It says updates, alter table user, alter column update, set default, current timestamp. Okay, set default, current timestamp. Okay, so now this has been created, and this is all that was there. So what the changes that we made, this is the query that was going to be executed. But this guy is suggesting that we have alter table user add column this, not now. Default is why am I not seeing my cursor? Okay. Default is okay, not now, then default is current timestamp, like that. Okay, so you can see that the difference is here we are just adding the two of them and adding the default to the existing data. But when you come here, we are now removing this not now. Okay, so anyway, let's proceed. Remove the default after the columns are added. Wait. Remove the default after the columns are added. So why are we? This is not right. Doesn't sound right. Let's update this to ensure the migrations work. Then we have to delete the one that it created. Okay. So let's fix the migration by modifying the schema and creating a new migration file. Okay. I've not seen you modify this schema. Where did you create that new migration file? Okay, this then ah reset the migrations and creates added a default now to both. This guy, this yours. Hey, am I the one who is not seeing or what? I just wanted you to modify the file, migration SQL file to ensure that the updated at field is handled well, something like that. Then sometimes I feel like when you are using some of these tools, even depending on them, makes you waste a lot more time. Because something that you could have just done, you want to still go and give it to them. Okay. Hmm. Interesting. I've not used triggers before. create trigger to automatically update the updated add timestamp. But now we've added this. Then after doing that, shouldn't we remove the wait, if the default is the current time, I think it makes sense, right? If the default for updated is the current time, anytime you're updating it, it picks the current time if you don't pass an explicit updated add time to it. So I think that makes sense, yeah. So let's try running this migration. Ooh. Hey, database can't be rich again. Problem. This is a problem with using free stuff. Free stuff. Okay. So now we have that fixed. And where were we even before we go here? Oh shit. We don't have our server running. npm run dev. The authentication part is what's going to delay us, but ooh. I really should find a way to use this thing without the cable. The headset without a cable. Okay. Where did all the other? Oh, okay. I was wondering where they all went. All right. Oh, but wait, it's able to grab my details. So it means the auth is working. I haven't paid attention to that. Let's go and create a new user. Okay, you for now, let's prompt it to continue. Continue. But I think that it's working fine because we have it here. Log out here. Let's try log out and see. See the log out. So the odds is different. Who can explain what's happening right now? Do you guys feel what's happening? Why is the odds logged in here, like inside here, and we still have these ones? But you can see that at least my name is no longer here, except that all of this. So this is actually coming from the base layout, which wasn't supposed to be the case because we didn't want them to be using the hold on. Okay. So if you come in here, the odds, we created a separate layout for odds, right? Odds. Hey, why odds doesn't have layout? I thought we created a separate layout for odds. Interesting. Oh, sorry. I mean API. Huh. So this is odds. Odds has a separate layout, right? Then the base layout itself too is this. So one of the things that we would have to do right now is probably, maybe I'll prompt it to do it, but the ideal thing is to group. We'll have to find a route to group all of these management. And last week I told you that I prefer to call that the porter. So I'll create a route group called porter, and I'll put this shift, staff, all of those other things into that particular one. Then the auth will also be on its own, so that the auth will have its layout. This will have its layout, but not the primary layout for everything. So, okay, it says now you can test. Hold on. Update packages to add a seed script. Install the required dependencies. Run this. A manager account. Okay, two staff accounts. Interesting. Now you can test this. Log in as manager. Create an assigned shift. Log in as staff. View assigned shifts. Okay. So it means we should be able to create those ones when, but before that, I want it to fix the layout. So with regards to the layout, can we separate the odds layout? No. Can we separate all the other pages that are not part of odds into a route group called portal, so that the layout applies to only that, and we have a different layout for all alt pages. So let's see what it's able to do with that.
What?
But essentially, that's how you approach most of these things. So you see, it's making a directory porter as the route grouping that we talked about. Then it will move shift, staff, analytics, settings all into portal. Then I hope it did it, or it's expecting us to do it. Okay, I've seen that it has done it up here. Hold on. It's expecting us to do it. Okay, so we are supposed to execute this command. But if we use, let me see, I have to use a Linux based one. So let's use WSL. WSL to the rescue and run this. Syntax error. Make sure the first one run. Okay. No, so the first one, it means that that's the error because that has been created already. Where am I going to? Now let's move this. Hey, are you serious? Let me go and move the thing myself. That- That's what I was saying. That sometimes when we are over relying on these things, uh, you're just wasting time, man. I could do this, so why am I even following everything that you are telling me? Okay, I just hope it fixed this layout too. Was it fixed? Yeah. So it removed most of the things from this layout. So now if you go to the sign in, yeah, that's what it looks like.
Wow.
Personally, I don't like this color at the background. Can we redesign the sign in and
Color?
register page to complement our portal design that looks like was designed by engineers from Google? I oh no.
Oh,
Yeah,
oh,
the server is running. There are a lot of things you cannot be doing. Uh, Sometimes even just because it's open in VS Code, you have to undo. Let's try this. Okay, that's done. And try this. Hold on. Data tree not found. No. Yeah, good. Which other thing were you supposed to move? It's like quoted things that do not exist that we should move it. That's why we're getting the error.
oh.
Okay. So let's see. There are some errors. Come on. Why is he using the thing we used bcrypt? Why are you using bcrypt here? Then sign in form. Where did he get the sign in form from? Okay. So I've seen that it has created sign in form. Okay. Then cannot find uh, sometimes I don't know if it is caching that is causing the problem or whatever the problem is. If the thing exists and it's not showing, cannot find it. Shift page client in shift component slash shift component slash shift page client. Is that not it? Ha. Why is it not even making recommendations? Shift. This is shifts. It's strange that I'm not getting any recommendations. Shift. Hold on. Shift page client. What's happening right now? Ha. Wahala. Cannot find this.
This is becoming
These
scary.
things exist. I don't know why it's giving me all those troubles. They exist. I just have to delete everything and write it again before it even notices that they exist. All kind of wahala is that? So not.
It's not picking it.
Hmm. See, now that I went to open the page, that's picked it. Okay. Oh, that's not it. Are you serious? Has this file been deleted? Why am I even sweating myself? It doesn't look like this file exists. App slash. Oh, come on.
Was it
So
because of the
we are trying to fix things that do not exist.
oh
Those ones have been moved. They've all been moved. And VS Code has not cleared it from this place. And I'm trying to fix it. Okay, let's run our server npm run moment of truth. Let's see what our new sign-in page looks like. Ooh. Hmm?
looks similar.
What did this guy do? Are you serious? This uses. Did you even change anything at all? Or I'm the one who is hallucinating right now. In okay. So I know why. It created a whole new one without
Okay.
this. So you can see that it did an auth route grouping here.
Okay.
So
Okay.
that's where it's coming from.
Ah.
But let's see if it was able to get the back end right. Invalid credentials. So I'm guessing it didn't get the back end right. Let's point it in the right direction. Fix the sign in. And sign in at
You say go by.
us.
Start.
Sign in. Okay, so we can use the directory. Can pass the directory to it, say folders, then we choose src/app/auth by gaining insight from the see how I spelled insight from the functional one in, then we pass that other folder to it, src app add, it was auth here. We should also fix, okay, this didn't work. So src app auth, yeah, that's true. Oh shit, that's not what I wanted. App auth, then sign in. That's what I'm looking for. Sign in. Yeah, this one. We should also update the register page to look similar to the new sign in page. Once that is fixed and we can log in and create shifts, I think will be good. Then the additional functionalities, you can come back and build that later. Ooh. Okay, let's create the registration form components page. All right, no errors so far. This working. Valid credentials. Are you sure? Oberehonia. Uh, why does it still say invalid credentials? Let's see. Register page. Okay. Ha 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 ha. The register page leads to this one. Let me use the same credentials here and see. Hey,
Valid.
what happened? Did I change my password inside? Hey, sorry man. Were you guys not here when I said the password was 123?
It was
Yeah.
1, 2, 3.
Wait, so what's happening? Did this thing change any implementation that? Oh no. Mm, maybe the hashing. I didn't pay attention to the backend changes. I don't think it has made any changes here. Ice Prisma, personnel. Cannot find Prisma. Hey. Le-
Please, did you try also registering a new user?
Uh, oh, okay. So this will solve the problem. Let me confirm that we don't have any such issue as well. Yeah, so it's coming the Prisma.
From the database.
We made changes to this, and we weren't aware. That's one of the big problems, especially if you know how to code and you are making such mistakes. Uh, let's see. Did that solve the problem?
Voila.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. Good. So it wasn't seen like the database was not initialized because of what was happening. Okay. But how do we get out of here? Initially, we're using slash. That's where you even shift. Was that it? We're using slash shift. Fail to compile. Please, you cannot have parallel pages that result to the same path. Oh, okay, okay, okay. Why do we have parallel pages? Is it not supposed to be the same thing that we moved? This quarter here. Was it not the same thing we moved? So let's, oh, no. For now, let's just rename this. I want to be sure that it's the same file. We rename this to that. Then, hey, a series of errors that are going on. But I've changed it. Okay, no worries. Test, shift. Are you serious right now? Page. What is happening? Hey, I just want to confirm this is this and passes that. If we come to this as well, do we have the same content? Okay, same content, no worries. Then we can delete this one. Delete. I don't know why you keep giving us. This thing has been fixed. Sorry, we need to stop this and wait. Does it mean the API to we have a similar issue like that? There's stuff here, shift here. There's no other shift. Okay. Now let's run into not working, then run this. Ooh. Can you imagine how frustrating it would be for people who do not appreciate code, who are trying to do these things? It could be very frustrating.
Oh,
Okay, so finally we are logged in. Why is Okay, maybe it's still loading. Yeah. I was come to ask why is my name not here? But let's log out and hey, log out also takes us here. Interesting. Try and create a new.
User.
I'd want us to try the new interface instead, if that is working. Okay. So new user, John. John Doe, where are you?
Most popular name.
John Doe has suffered. John, is that your brother?
I wonder.
uh, Password 123. And John Doe is a staff. So let's register. Hey, since when? And if you realize we've changed the rules. Hey, this is how the AI will be changing things without telling us. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, no. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I hope you guys remember. Okay, so now we have John Doe also as a staff. Then I'm logging into my account at least to begin with to see what John Doe has. Oh, should take us to shift. I should have rather logged into John Doe's account to see what staff can see. Oh, cool, cool,
Okay.
cool, 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 cool.
Wow.
This is, you can edit John Doe's account. Have you implemented anything like that? I don't think so. Anyway, let's see stuff, add stuff. Ooh, so we can add stuff in here. Prince Doe.
Haha.
Prince Doe. Okay. Let's praise at example.com. Then password 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 and stuff. Good. Good, good, good. Everything is working fine now. Let's go to schedule and add a new shift today. Today at 2 it's afternoon. So ideally you'd want to do it such that when this is selected, it should change the start time and daytime automatically to say the afternoon ranges. But for now, we have to manually come and change it. Say 2 o'clock
You
p.m.
registered as a manager, right?
Yeah, I registered as a manager, so I should be able to do this. Then end time is 2 to say 8 p.m. Okay, staff, we want to assign John to it. Any notes? No notes. It's the notes. Okay, create shift. Shift created, but didn't auto-populate here. So that's something that we need to pay attention to, such that as soon as it's added, it should show up here. Let's refresh and see. It's not showing up at all, so that's a problem. So we need to
Yeah,
confirm that the shift was created in the database. Yeah, was created, but even though it was created, we do not see it here.
on the dashboard.
Okay, so we go back and
Can
tell it.
we check the staff dashboard to see if actually it has the shift?
Okay, but even if he has it, I think the manager should be able to see it first.
Yeah, yeah.
Error. No worries. Error. For now, let's put in. Eh, I'm even sweating right now. Okay. We say added shifts are not showing up on the shifts for the day panel. Before it gets confused, I would want to take a screenshot and give it to it.
Perfect.
Okay. Ooh. Cool, 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 cool. Let's debug the shift functionality. First, let's check the API endpoint and then the front end display. Update the shift API to probably handle that. Handle date filtering. Update the shift calendar component to add some debugging. Uh, guys, hold on. Let me grab this call. Yep. Sorry about that. I needed to mute the phone. All right. So the key changes are added proper date filtering in this, added that. Okay, let's go ahead and accept it. Assume that everything is working fine. Refresh this and see, did they fix the problem? No, the problem is not fixed. So sometimes I'll ask it to use, ideally, if I want to fast, I'll go into it and go and see where the problem is coming from. But you can see that it has a console log here. So most times that's what I'll ask it to do. It says fetching shifts for this date, then fetch shifts is 0. So it's coming from the API. We give it to it. It says, can you try creating a shift now and check the browser console for any error? This will help us identify where exactly the issue might be carried. Yeah, I mean, this is it's pretty solid. Like if even if you don't know these things and you are just following the instructions and asking the right set of questions, should be able to do it. Copy. It will be a bit frustrating, but oh, yeah, Ari can't copy that. Okay, anyway, let's give
Can
it
we
that.
take the screenshot of that one?
You could. I mean, it's able to read. You could, but I've already hit enter. The shifts are being fetched correctly by returning an empty array. Let's first check a few things. First, let's verify the shift creation by adding more login. No, the shift is created. I can see. So that's context that we should have given it. That the shift has been created. We can see it in the database, but the problem is that it's no longer showing because that's where it's heading out. Okay, now it has added some the console logs to the API itself. So we should be expecting some console logs down here as well. Okay, fetching shift to it params this the user ID is now. User ID is now. Doesn't mean we the person that is logged in's ID. Because the query is select public saved ID, like select all of these
Could it be
created by ID
managers
from
group?
public shift where public this and start time is greater than this and public that. Okay, no worries. Let's just copy this for chat CA. Hmm. Fix this. I need to get this done. The issues with time zone handling in the dates comparison, the database query is using UTC date while we are creating shift to local date. Problem. Problem. we have an error in here. Oh, there's a lot of error now. First of all, let me confirm that this thing I think now is broken. You're changing the dates.
The date module.
One of the things that I've realized, if you don't take care, this AI will guide you to install so many dependencies that eventually you do not even need. Install. So you have to be mindful of it. You install this, you have to delete some, unable to. So that is not this one. Okay. The same issue here where the oh man, you have to use the legacy pair. So I think it's still coming from that calendar one that depends on that probably, but I doubt the fact that this is where we are getting it. No, so this is not the error. That's different. Ooh.
React 18.
I've seen a lot of videos about what happened to React 19. I'm here to actually check the changes they did. Over the week, one exploration that I had was trying to build a React Native app, the interface design using Vue. And hey, it was just wonderful. Was wonderful. Like, yeah. Now with the basic JavaScript that you can literally build like a whole lot of things. And let's see. Snack. My snacks. So this platform that we are building, and I wanted to build the app, and this is it. Like, ooh, pretty cool. And I could test it on my phone and feel it and see exactly what was going on. Hey,
Wow.
it's a great time to be a developer. Yesterday, the reason why this was exciting is that I had a chat with a colleague of mine, and he reminded me that in 2022 he tested me about an idea, and I told him that, oh, I actually went to read a message that I sent him, and the message was that, yeah, we are already working on something like this. Like, I have the prototype, but I don't have the skill set to build it. So I'm looking for other developers who will join hands to help us build. And this was in April 2022. Then in May 2022, that's when I got into ALS. And this time around, we are talking about it. I'm like, yeah, that's idea. Like, I didn't even remember what he said and what was in the message, but I went to read it. I'm like, yeah, even just yesterday, I was creating this, and I sent him the video and he was impressed. So this is the app and what it looks like. And all of it, the designs were done with, Vue. So making an app, it's like
Wow.
these things could have taken you forever. Yeah, that's just by the way. So for those of you who are interested, you could start exploring it. You go to snack.expo.dev, create an account there, then you use those tools to help you build. See, it is one of the best ways to learn React Native by building yourself and trying to figure things out. Sometimes I would prefer you combine this with the documentation as well. So I started reading their documentation not too long ago, and I got a hang of it, like how it works, and it's not so different from React. Even when you're using Expo, it feels like you are doing SJS. So it was easy for me to appreciate it. And now, given that whatever kind of design, especially the styling, I can get these tools to do it for me, makes it really cool. All right, let's get back to where we our work. We still have errors to fix. What is this? Okay, so we decided to go back to the one that we were originally using. I wonder. So prefetching, failed to fetch shift. Says error, failed to fetch shift, but then the shift has been shown up here.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so
That
yes, everything is going well. This is afternoon shift for John Doe. No notice the note.
that mode.
Dark. Oh, we should go to dark mode. Okay, let's see it in dark mode. This is what it looks like. I don't know. I'm not a fan of very like black in dark mode.
It's
I would
nice.
prefer. I would prefer we use the slate, but not the very dark one. Like maybe if you're using slate 700, 600, like that part. That's what I'm a fan of for dark mode. All right, let's add Prince Do's night shift. Night shift, you're going from 8 p.m. to 8 a.m. 8 p.m. to 8 a.m. Okay. Prince Do, come early. You don't like coming to work early. Okay, now it's automatically updating. That is cool.
Shift created successfully. Something
Yeah.
like that came up here.
Yeah.
Wow.
I don't even remember us installing the toggle because ideally we would have to tell it to use the shard CN toggle. Hey, did I say toggle? Toast. But I don't remember us installing Toast. Anyway, this is pretty cool. These badges, I would prefer we give them different colors to make it nice. Now it's looking too white and black. We have to make it colorful white, but hey, there isn't time right now. Let's try and log in as a staff and
Sorry,
see.
before we log out, sorry,
Yeah, I'm not
are
even
we,
logging out. Yeah, I'm listening.
maybe you go to the staff, then as a manager, you view, oh, you're
No
out.
worry, I'm listening. Here,
Like as
this
a
is what you
manager,
meant.
you individuals schedule.
Oh. So these actions here, I don't think it has been implemented because I
Okay,
clicked on it
okay, yeah,
earlier, nothing
it's
happened.
not working.
We are the ones building this application, but because AI is writing it for us, we don't even know what we are looking. We don't know what has been done and what has not been done. Oh, don't do this. Okay, no worries. We'll have to go and fix all of these issues later. But no, not my email. It was prince at example. Then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Oh, so what would they be looking for? Which one that
Shift.
shift? Okay, let's look for shift and see. Oh, they get to see everything. It means we've not scoped it down.
Hmm.
They see. Oh no 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 wait. That's what we wanted, right? They should be able to see everyone's shift. They don't get those other functionalities, but then they're able to see everyone's shift. Who is coming for night? Who is not coming? That they should be able to see. Is that
They,
not the case?
they can't
Yes,
add
yes, yes.
shift to it.
They can't add shift, but here we are seeing them add shift, which is not good. Anyway, so we'll continue from here. I think I'm feeling a bit tired and we'll have to
Yeah.
Hmm.
get some rest. So hopefully I don't touch it in the course of the week and we continue. Now it's getting sweet, but there are a lot of things that we need to fix. And yeah, we'll look at it. especially with the logout going to the screen. And oh yeah, let's go. I think this is good so far. We can break here and continue next week. Thank you all so much for joining the stream.
Thank you
Yeah.
very much.
Oh, I mean, don't mention. It's fun. We like to play with the toys. So let's keep playing with the toys. We'll continue building this and hopefully we're able to turn it into a good product. As for me, as I said earlier, this is supposed to be part of the product that we are building. So this is more of proof of concept for me. Then once we've been able to have the proof of concept, I can easily go and implement it there. Before I forget, I need to push the code.
Oh,
And let's clear this. Get and get commit should be committing as often as possible. Add
Yeah,
shift.
yeah, next alone will let you commit
to
100
validate
times.
features. Then get push. All right, so everything is on GitHub right now, and we are good. How do I even stop sharing my screen?
Bye.
All right, bye guys. See you next week.